All right, what's up? So here we are, Winning Nation. I'm going to cover a little topic with you, Jonathan. I want to just bring this up because I think that we have a lot of friends who are really hopped up right now. And I think that's amazing. But
Yeah.
are they going to be hopped up next week? I don't know. I don't know. But this week on Winning Nation, I want to talk about motivation. People are obsessed, addicted to motivation, and I don't think that you really need to. I think that motivation is fleeting, it's fickle, and uh, this is this is for me. I really don't get motivated. I don't get inspired. I'm a weird person, but I want to hear it from you, Jonathan. What do you think about this, man? You getting hyped up? Are you getting super hype?
Listen, like anybody else, motivation is great, right? But like you said, it's fleeting. It's like showering. You just because you showered once doesn't mean you don't have to shower the next day or you have to shower after you work out. All right. Motivation, it can give you help in short little bursts, but for me and for what most people go to after an event, is really comes down to a couple things. One, working and focusing on the daily winning habits, okay, making things a habit that's going to drive what you need done, and that's basically feel standards over feelings, okay. And then the second thing is, implementation. So many people go to an event, or they they figure something out, or they're taught something, and then they don't implement it, right? So anytime I'm reading a book, think about it like this. It doesn't even have to be an event. When I'm reading a book or when I learn something new, if you don't immediately implement that into what you're trying to do and what you're trying to accomplish, it goes away. Same thing. Motivation is great. It's going to help carry you, for the next, call it maybe day, week, maybe even a month. But at some point, if you don't turn the things into habits, if you don't create better winning habits and just make them part of your day, make them part of just who you are and what you do, then the motivation is, you're going to have to go watch a video every day before you get up and go to work, you
You
know?
have to listen to that like rock video where it's like him talking over like Arnold Schwarzenegger lifting or somebody, something
Yeah.
like that. Like, I equate this with people that start projects and they get all excited about them. Hey,
Hmm.
I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to do that thing. Yeah, I see this in product development. I see this in software programming. I see it in marketing initiatives. I see it
Yeah.
with podcasts. Right? It's like
Everything.
you get super excited, and then reality sets in. It's harder than you thought it was. Oh, you thought it was hard. It's harder than that.
Absolutely.
Uh, I thought it was going to be popular. It's not. Requires a lot of work because you have a lot of competition. And what I think is that you need some experience with succeeding and failing and holding up that contract with yourself. But you also need to have some reason why you're doing it that's beyond like getting downloads, right? Or getting likes.
A vanity metric.
Yeah, exactly, right? Because going to those events is awesome, right? You get a chance to meet everybody, hang out, exchange ideas, meet
Network,
network,
bring on
right?
partners,
You're going to be
you know.
naturally pumped up. But the first time that I experienced this, and I was shocked, is I had a client, and she was in that personal development space.
Mhm.
She really enjoyed going to Tony Robbins, and I, like many people, I have a love hate relationship with Tony Robbins. Right? He's probably the first personal development person that everybody has ever got involved with, listened to, read, or whatever. But he's a odd duck. He's an interesting character, right? Nothing wrong with Tony Robbins, but she went to his event at least once a year, if not twice a year, and had gone for almost a decade. She was not successful. She lacked confidence, and during our project, because I was working with her on her startup, she was like, "I'm going to put this progress on hold because in a few weeks I'm going to go to unleash the power within, and I'll be more motivated after I get back from the event." And
Yeah.
I was like, "That's the craziest thing I've ever heard." but again, you have to understand, like, I don't get motivated like that. I get excited about ideas and projects and things, but I don't.
I'm
I
listening.
I watch other people get motivated by speeches and that stuff, and I want to feel that same thing. I don't. I'm just like, yep, this is a great story. How do I integrate this great story into something that I'm trying to do? I don't get that same level of excitement. If you show me how to do something, I get really excited about it,
Yeah.
right? But it's just a different flavor of the same thing, maybe. But I I remember sitting there, and this person was so like just like squeezed out, like all the life was just like, if I just go to this thing, I'm gonna find this power to power through what I'm trying to do. I'm like, all we're doing is you're sitting across from somebody who, if you said go, could just make your business work.
Yep.
And I've asked you to go talk to 5 people, and you haven't done it in weeks.
Yep.
There's nothing you're going to get out of that event that's going to make you do this thing. You have no obstacle in your life. Like, I'm volunteering for this thing. You're sitting next to somebody that can literally do anything for you. All you have to do is ask or just do the couple tasks.
Yep.
But it was like that fear and that desire to feel enthused. And I was like, dude, as soon as you start your business, you're gonna have people problems, supplier problems, marketing problems, sales problems. It's nothing but problems, and our ability to overcome them is the level of success that we can get. And like, I can't just say, I got to go to unleash the power within. I'm going to hop on a plane and see what Tony Robbins is doing. Like, that's crazy to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? There's just so much to take away from this, right? So it does come down to having the habits and implementing everything. But I think let's just focus on, like, hey, you go to an event, right? First off, most people don't go to an event with the idea of what they want to take away from that. Okay, what are they there to learn? What are those one or two things that if they figured out, or one or two people that if they met, how is that going to change everything they need? How is that going to really help them and better them? Okay, that's number one. So people need to show up with an idea of what they want to get out of it. Two, I think uh, a lot of people don't follow up after the event, and they don't do the post work to the event. And what do I mean by post work? Well, first off, um, if you go to an event, you should be taking notes. Okay, every single event I've ever attended, I've always taken notes, unless I've heard that speaker multiple times. Even then, you can pick up additional information, additional things that are going to help you. Okay, and then when I get back, I rewrite the notes. All right, this way it kind of sinks in and it's ingrained. The next thing is, anybody that you meet. So many people think, just going to a meet and greet, one and done, and you have that relationship forever. No, absolutely fucking not. Like, the idea is, after you meet somebody there, follow up with them, have a conversation. Maybe even if you have that same conversation that you just had, okay, it's still a benefit because now it's fresh in their mind. Now maybe you have exchanged information that maybe wasn't available, or you didn't have the time, or wasn't present there. Okay, that's so important because that's how you build these relationships. That's how you get out of these events what you need and what you want, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing too, and this is the truth, guys. Okay, I think everybody needs to hear this. Couple people came up to me at this event. Couple people I've had pretty intimate conversations with. All right, and I couldn't tell who it was until we got further and further along in the conversation. And the reason being is some of you guys do not have updated pictures, updated profile pictures. Okay? And this isn't a knock. This is legitimately me trying to help. I mean, you're smiling, Callie. It is funny. Okay? It's funny, but it's funny because it's true. How many people don't actually look like their picture? So we have all these conversations, okay? And I want to spend more time with you. I want to get to know you. However, if it takes me 2 or 3 or 4 minutes to understand who I'm speaking to, because that's when you recall the conversation I remember. Well, that's a little challenging. And then next, you're there to meet people. The power, most of these events, the power is always in the network. Okay, so you should be introducing yourselves, and you should be holding yourself to a certain standard, right? Because I've seen way too many people have a little too much fun, and in the past, I have absolutely been guilty of that. Um, and if you're there and these are not people you truly know and you're trying to network, you may want to limit the amount of fun you intake. What are your thoughts, Callie?
I mean, especially if you're there for like a couple days, right? And if you're with hundreds or thousands of people, it might not be time for that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so I got a lot of pieces out of that, and I could say we met a year and a half ago at an event, right? And I don't have that many people that I follow up with, but I follow up with everybody that I make a connection with. It's just a smaller group of people. I don't really think that you need 1,000 people. Everybody's into this mass. I want to, I want to like put everybody on a list or a big group text or whatever. You really don't need that. In my experience, you can do massive things beyond what you can really wrap your head around with only one other person. So
Totally
imagine if
agree.
you have 10 people that are at that level. We've talked about this on the podcast before, developing your network. So I have in another community been teaching on networking and building relationships and like how that works in those settings. And look, I know people that they're literally going from circuit to circuit. They're like, I'm going to do Ed's thing. I'm going to do Ryan's thing. I'm going to do the Arate thing. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to do Sean's thing. I'm like, dude, I don't know when you're running your business, but like each one of those events are $500 to $10,000. And there just can't be, or higher, right? I mean, for everybody that's listening, some of those events are a little expensive, right? So like, there's nothing wrong with that either. It's just that you would really need to tell me you'd have to go into the battle plan.
Yeah.
You have to know exactly the things that I'm teaching people. It's like how to introduce yourself, how to position yourself, how to present yourself. All those little pieces. But look, people don't do this because they're all hyped up. They're waiting for excitement versus purpose. So what Jonathan's saying is like you act with intent, right? You come into a situation. This is the intentionality. This is why I'm here. This is why I spent $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 to go to some of these events, because I'm going to get this thing out of it, and I'm going to make that reality happen through my actions. And then you have to think why I'm going to put myself and be uncomfortable, because winning isn't about putting your feet up on your desk and smoking a big cigar. Winning's about continually putting yourself in uncomfortable situations so you can continue to grow, right? And we all kind of wish it was the other way, but anybody knows that it's not, right?
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, so for me, I look at these pieces, and they come and they go, and they're cool milestones in your life. You meet interesting people, but there has to be a reason to do this, and that's why I titled this that you don't need motivation. I think that people need an actual reason. They need a purpose. They need a goal that's so big that whatever that you do that you think is really cool. I had a great sales day today. I think this might be one of my biggest sales weeks ever.
Congrats.
This week. Thank you. But a month from now, do I still want that to be the best in my life? A year from now, do I still want that to be the best in my life? No. So do I feel excited that I won today? I did all my things and I closed the deal. Do I feel excited that I should close this other deal this week, next week for sure, and it'll be fantastic? Yeah, I feel like validated. I feel all those positive things. But then in reference to what my goal is, it's not really that big a deal. And
Yeah.
a month or two from now, like I'll actually have to do the thing that I just got paid to do, so it will feel a lot less like motivating, you know.
Yeah.
So I have to have my vision on, hey, I want to build $100 million business. All right,
Yeah.
so it doesn't matter what I do. I have to follow way through. I have to follow way through with that punch, right, to make it happen.
I'll tell you this, and this is two things that have really helped me that I got from growing up. I had one mentor that said this, and obviously every single coach. You know, I'll put this in the sports perspective, right? So yeah, watching the Ranger game, trying to get home yesterday, they crushed it. They were going after the first period was 2-0. After the second period it was 2-1. Wound up losing 3-2. All right. The point is, in any given point in pro sports, you're only as good as your last shift. Okay. So the last time you were on the ice, that's the benchmark. All right. I don't care if you scored 3 goals in the first period. How good are you towards the end of that game? All right. Business is no different. Okay. You're only as good as what you produced and what you accomplished today. If you really need a winning mindset and you really need to think about it, that is what is going to make you better and move the needle. You're only as good as what you produced and what you did today. Now, a lot of people say, well, hey, you have to take a step back and look and appreciate the whole body of work. Yeah, there's a time and place for that. But if you're constantly looking in the rearview mirror, okay, that's as big as you're going to get. All right. So you have to have that level of being appreciative of what you've accomplished and knowing that this journey is just starting. It's still day one. There's so much more to go. All right. Because people get caught up with that. And I'll tell you this, if someone that's managed a lot of sales guys, okay, it is very common for a sales guy to have an amazing month. I mean, best month ever, and then the next 2 months are trash. Okay, same thing with business owners. You know what? I traveled a lot last month. I'm going to throw myself under the bus. I'm no different. Okay, I had record month after record month after record month. I had to travel 3 times in 4 weeks. I'm finally done now. Okay, and I felt it. I felt it. Okay, and this is someone that is pretty seasoned. So it can happen to the best of us. But you're only as good as your last shift. You're only as good as what you produce today. And every single day, you need to be looking at what do I need to do to win this day. And if you keep it as simple as that, you'd be surprised about the momentum you can build. And that's, again, to your point, Callie, that's why, you don't need motivation. You need habits. Okay, because things always get difficult. Things always get challenging. All right, there's always some little thing that you can't figure out. Well, guess what? If you don't have the discipline, which is really when you're talking about getting things done, really what it takes to sit there and figure it out, or at least find the answer from somebody else in the network, then you're never going to get accomplished what you need to get accomplished.
So I really I wish I hope everyone has an amazing time at these events. That's what I want to say. And I am sorry that I missed the big event. I missed our friend on stage, right? I'm just like, it looked really great. I mean, I'll be
awesome.
honest, like, I don't care about famous people. I don't care about sports stars. Like, anybody that knows me, like, I don't. But I do care about hanging out with the people that I care about, giving that time to chop it up. So I like that kind of stuff. And so I couldn't do it not because I can't, but because I have different priorities, right? I'll make that dividing line. Like, I make the choice. I had more important priorities and made a conscious decision to not do that thing. But it looked awesome.
It was good. It was great, actually.
Yeah, it was great. And everybody said it was great. I've had a couple of conversations with that, and I've had conversations with people that are really pumped to go to the other thing and the other thing and the other thing as well. So I think that because this is kind of event season, right? This is it's just an important message to get out there is do something with that. But then really look at it and say, okay, Callie's like 60% a robot. So like, how can I be more robotic about this and think, what is my mission? Like, what programming am I executing, right? What is the identity that I'm creating, and how am I executing that programming of that identity? And like, where does spending that $5,000 or $20,000, where does that fit in? What am I going to get out of it? And it better not just be motivation for the week.
Yep.
Because man, what Jonathan said is just on point. We know a lot of salespeople. They have the best week and the worst month. They have the best month and the worst quarter. And because motivation is like sucking all the oxygen out of the room for them, because they're super pumped, they're super up, then they're super down. And don't be like that. Go in there with a purpose and have that North Star. This is what I'm trying to achieve with my life. And this is how I can break that down into pieces. Here's who I think is going to tell me a little bit about that. Like, I want to understand mindset a little bit. I need to understand what Ed's going to say. Oh, I need to understand a little bit more about social media. This is what Dan's going to tell me. Right? Come in there with an expectation of success and aligned with what your actual life, who you want to be. And I think that is a lot more demotivating, because you're going to get the information and you have to integrate it. And you're like, that sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah.
It sounds like success is boring and success is a lot of work. So
to that, and then I'm just going to end here, okay? Because I've made this mistake. You go to an event and everybody has these amazing ideas. You come back, and if you can't elaborate or effectively communicate the vision to your team, and then you make all these changes, it's going to be an absolute disaster. So last thing I will leave you guys with, I promise, and this is speaking from experience, someone that's messed up a lot of things, okay? First, don't try to implement everything at once, okay? Unless everything is spiraling out of control anyway, and this is the only way to save what you got going on, all right? So you want to implement, measure, adjust. Implement, measure, adjust. Second, your ability to communicate the vision when you get back of what you're trying to accomplish to your team, how you're going to do it, and why it fucking matters is so much more important than the little X's and O's. All right? So I hope that helps you guys. Me and Callie are going to go do 2 of these this week because I missed his fucking face last week. And, we're going to keep bringing these to you. So what we would really, truly appreciate is if you guys liked it, shared it with someone who needs to hear it, and dropped us a review. I think that's fair. We're putting in a little bit of time, effort, energy, money. We don't want anything in return. Just spread the good word. We appreciate you guys. This is Winning Nation.
boom. All right. Thank you, Jonathan.